Good evening and welcome to CoreTV News at 6. I am Olajumoke Latuji. Wife of first Republic leader and famous politician, Obafemi Awolowo Hannah Idowu Jideolu Awolowo is dead. The late matriarch of the Awolowo dynasty, fondly referred to as HRD by her late husband and admirers, was born on the 25th of November 1915 in Ekene like her late husband. She would have celebrated her entrance since the Centenary Club November this year. She was until her death the Yeye Oba of Ife and also the grandmother of the wife of the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, Oludolapo. Details of her death are still sketchy as of now. We will bring you more details in our subsequent bulletins. The Shakiris and Delta States have formally announced the passage of Ogamwa Tuwashis II, the Law of Warri. The ceremony, which was held at the Ode Sekiri Big Warri, the traditional headquarters of the Sekiri, also saw the announcement of one of the late Olu's younger brothers, Godfrey Ikewoli Emiko Abiloye, as the Olu's designate, announcing both the passage of the Tuwashe II and the choice of Prince Ikewolu to the Sekiri National Congress. The eldest member of Jolu Advisory Council, Chief Tesigbenewe Pesu, also performed the traditional breaking of the calabash, which represents the death of the king. The Nigerian army says its troops have arrested some members of Boko Haram on Friday, described as internal displaced persons. Army spokesman Colonel Samni Husband said in a statement that intercepted persons have been screened by troops of the 21 Brigade for more information and confirmation of their true identity. He noted that troops have also dislodged Boko Haram terrorists from Disa and Balazana villages, both located in the Goza local government area. The army spokesman added that 23 men, 33 women and 34 children were rescued in the process. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje is concerned about the ongoing negotiations by government officials with Boko Haram. Ganduje, who made his words known to State House correspondents in Abuja, said he wonders if the government is in touch with the actual leadership of the insurgents group. He, however, urged Nigerians to engage in community policing before, during and after the Eid al-Fitr celebrations to ensure that criminal elements do not carry out attacks on soft targets. While the Code of Conduct Bureau Tribunal has ordered Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase to arrest the Senate President Bukola Saraki for failing to appear for his arraignment, the Tribunal Chairman Dahir Umar issued the order on the basis of an application filed by Prosecution Counsel Muslim Hazin. Umar urged that Saraki was duly notified to appear before the tribunal, and as a public servant, he should have obeyed the summons. Our judicial correspondent Basil Okafor reports.
Massive security around the premises of the tribunal. This suggests that the Senate President was either in the court or was on his way for his arraignment. But neither was the case, as the Senate President failed to appear to face charges filed against him. This angered the prosecution counsel, Muslim Hassan, and he sought a bench warrant for the arrest of the Senate President. Defense counsel Mahamoud Magaji, however, objected, arguing that the prosecution counsel lacked the power to institute the case in the first place.
We only apply that the bench warrant be issued against the accusers in Parliament for disobedience of the order of this honorable court. The application before you should be expunged from the record, inclusive the appearance.
After argument from both sides, the tribunal adjourned for some hours till 1:30 p.m. And after reconvening, Tribunal Chairman Danladi Umar ordered the Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, to arrest Saraki. He thereafter adjourned till September 21 for the Senate President to appear and face his charges. The response of the legal team of Saraki after the ruling indicated that the Senate President will appeal the decision of the tribunal.
I've only told him there is an order of the court binding him. And if that order has been served on him, the least he can do is to go and set aside the order with the reasons he gave, not to ride roughshod over the order. We will respond accordingly. There are processes for people who are in contempt of orders.
For now, the federal government is keen on ensuring that the Senate President is docked on Monday. But that is also when a federal high court is due to hear Saraki's suit against the Code of Conduct Bureau.
Meanwhile, Senate President Bukola Saraki has accused the Code of Conduct Bureau of Tribunal of acting under undue political influence and external pressure by ignoring a court order. In a statement issued on his behalf by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity Yusuf Olaniyonu, Senator Saraki explained that he chose to proceed to the courts to determine the competence of the prosecutor because he felt his fundamental right were about to be infringed upon. The Senate President noted that he chose to go about his normal official schedule based on a court order that all parties in the case should appear before it on Monday, September 21. He also expressed surprise that in spite of assurances by his counsel that he would show up on Monday, the tribunal insisted on issuing a warrant of arrest just to embarrass him. Saraki described the tribunal's conduct as an abuse of rule of law and a bad precedent, but maintained that he would not do anything to undermine the judicial process. Adding their voice to many Nigerians who've reacted to the controversial 40-set declaration saga involving the Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Code of Conduct Bureau, this analysts differ in their stand on the case to ground while calling for the prevalence of the rule of law.
A public figure is a public thing. Everybody wants to know everything about you to a larger extent. So for effective corruption campaign, it is one of the requirements.
As a public officer, I believe he should be able to come out clean and say, look, this is what I have, and I've been giving you this report on every of my oath taking. So why is it now that you want to indict me? Go and check my records in 23 before being a governor in Kwara State. I've submitted what I needed to submit before I took an oath of office. So, I mean, all the Buhari about witch hunting, I don't think so. The code of conduct, they're doing their job. And, of course, as a citizen and the Senate President of Nigeria, he have every right to seek redress if you think it's injustice. So, I mean, this is the way I feel about it.
And while the Code of Conduct Bureau was seated in his absence, the President of the Senate was soliciting the support of development partners of the National Assembly for a better synergy with federal lawmakers. He made the appeal at an interactive forum with the partners at the National Assembly complex. The Senate President wants them to work out plans to strengthen the capacity of legislators for optimal service delivery. Away from that, the People's Democratic Party says it would reposition the party for future elections. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Olusamatu, disclosed the need to have a national conference where issues bordering on how to reshape the party would be discussed. Metu pointed out that lots of corrections need to be made to correct the many mistakes of the past. The proposed conference has been organized by some members of the Board of Trustees of the party who are backed by both the board and the national caucus of the party. This is still CoreTV News at 6. We'll take a break now. We'll be back with more stories. Stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man. We don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Thank you for joining us again. For more news and other programs, please visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. Also visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/CoreTV_news. The Lagos High Court, Ikeja, under the judgments of Justice B.A. Chukwu, has upheld the victory of APC senatorial candidate Solomon Adiola, otherwise known as Yayi, at the just concluded 28th March 2015 senatorial election. The ruling, which nullified the election petition filed by the Lagos West PDP senatorial candidate Segun Adewale, says the petition lacked so many requirements and as such cannot stand. Defense counsel Kunle Adegoke stated that the petition against his client should have been discarded a long time ago, but it was baseless and without concrete fact. While the victor, Senator Adiola Olamilekon, says the victory has his party, the All Progressives Congress, and called for the support of his constituents towards achieving greater development.
No facts were supplied to show the day that the primary election of the party, APC, was held and when the notice ought to have been given. It is simple and elementary that when you are challenging a particular act not to have been done within time, you are supposed to supply the date when the act was done, the date when it was supposed to have been done under the statute. This was not done by the petitioner. Then second was that the evidence purportedly led, did not even substantiate this. It was just a legal statement that he stated in his witness statement to the effect that the first respondent, Olamilekon, was not properly nominated, and that was all.
This shows the right step in the right direction and hope for a common man that whatever the situation is, whatever is the issue, that there is hope, and that the Court of Competent Jurisdiction will have upheld these results and will have declared that Adeola Solomon Olamilekon is the senator for Lagos West Senatorial District. I've done this after examining all documents that was before them, and they have taken this position jointly and affirmed that yes, he is the winner of the March 28th senatorial election.
Despite the agreement signed by labor unions and the Osho state government on the payment of outstanding salary arrears and deduction owed, the health sector may be looming for a showdown. This is because medical doctors say the memorandum of understanding signed by the Nigeria Labour Congress did not capture the issues relating to their unions. The unions have, however, issued an ultimatum to commence a strike action if government does not recall a negotiation to meet their demands. Rashid has more.
After the resolution reached by the labor leaders and the Osun State government over old salaries, it is expected that all is well. But the leadership of the Osun State Association of Medical and Dental Officers and the resident doctors from LATEC Teaching Hospital Oshogbo seem not to be on the same page with the agreement. They say they were not a part of the negotiation and issues relating to the non-implementation of the federal government circular on adjustment commerce, which is the salary scale for doctors, and was not captured in the agreement, and that there is still evidence of arbitrary cut in the doctors' pay.
We are not party to the decision of NSC and cannot be bound by this memorandum of understanding they signed with the government. That the government should pay all our outstanding salaries, union and cooperative deductions, leave bonuses, and remit the backlog of contributory pensions deductions to the relevant pension fund administrator on or before 24 hours of Sunday, 27th of September 2015.
The issue of unpaid salaries and members' welfare has caused both physical and psychological torture to members. The point I just raised is not unconnected with the continuous non-implementation of the federal government circular on adjusted commerce, despite implementation of federal government circular on taxation on the state.
But the spokesperson for the government says all union leaders were represented at the signing of the memorandum of understanding.
If they want anything done, they should wait. Thank God the way things are going now. Labor issue will become what each state will have to be handling the way it knows it can do it better. Because the way things are going now, the federal government should hands off and allow each state to negotiate according to their capability.
The lecturers in the state-owned tertiary institutions also say they cannot call off the ongoing 8-month strike until the government accents to its demand.
One of them is the issue of a contributory pension. We are tired of the way it is being administered by the government. And our position on that is that the government could re-engineer by suspending the contributory pension. Let us go back to the old defined pension scheme. We have done our own part by going to them trying to facilitate the meeting at one time or the other, but the government has not been reciprocating. So we are waiting for the time government will be ready for us for the negotiation.
In the midst of this crisis, the students who are the worst hit appeal for peace.
What is in their mind is that touches the issue of ongoing strike that is affecting the majority entire Nigerian students across the state of Osun, and we are appealing to the state government to have a formidable agreement with the Kawasu, ASUP, and the Kasosty of the state of Osun.
The medical doctors have issued a strike ultimatum to commence on Monday, the 21st of September, and the lecturers have also vowed not to call off the 8-month strike. The most affected person by these actions can only continue to hope and pray that an amicable resolution is reached soon. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
The Nigerian Association of Patent and Proprietary Medicine Dealer accuses Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria of unlawful shop closures in Kwara State. Medicine dealers tripped out in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, to express their grievance against the act of unlawful closure of their shops across the state based on allegations of non-registration. The body, however, seeks government intervention on the issue. Rashid has more from Ilorin once again.
The Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria, the umbrella body overseeing the consumption and distribution of medicinal products in the country, on its recent discovery that most patent medicine store owners are not qualified to operate within their communities, having not registered with PCN, have resulted to closing them down. The president, Nigerian Association of Patent Medicine Sellers, frowned at the development, describing the council's action as biased and sponsored. He also condemned the imposition of registration fee. He is calling on the state government to intervene before the matter goes beyond control.
We are protesting. Our protest is that their recent raiding, the lockup of over 560 shops of our members. We don't want to take law to our hand. That is why we have come to His Excellency to save us from their victimization.
More so, the Chief of Staff to the Kwara State Governor has promised to settle the matter between the warring parties.
With the Chief of Staff response to our grievances, he talked to us and he asked us to maintain peace. And immediately he called the officer in charge of the PCN in Ilorin, which he has booked appointment with him. And he said he will discuss and he will send for me later so that the matter will be resolved amicably. That I should talk to my people to remain calm.
While the state government comes in to settle the rift, it is calling for calm and maintenance of law and order. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Malaria death rate in Nigeria is reduced by 60% since 2000, translating into 6.2 million lives, mainly children, saved. This was disclosed in a joint World Health Organization and UNICEF report released on Thursday in Lagos. The reports pointed out that between 2000 and 2015, the under-5 malaria death rate fell by 65% and an estimated 5.9 million children were saved. The report further showed that the malaria MDG target of halting and reversing the incidence of malaria by 2015 has been met convincingly, with new malaria cases dropping by 37% in 15 years. While the federal government has enjoined truck owners to ensure that the vehicles meet the standards required to operate in the nation's seaport. The federal government disclosed this at a meeting with the Nigerian Port Authority and representatives of transport associations in Lagos. They pointed out that meeting the required standard by truck drivers as obtainable in the developed world is vital to the sustainable development of the nation's seaport. The meeting was convened in the wake of the threat by truck owners to withdraw their services on the nation's seaport, following the restriction on their movement of trucks by the Lagos State government. The Chief Whip of the House of Representatives and Chairman African Parliamentary Committee on Millennium Development Goals, Alhassan Adudagoa, has urged the federal government to give more institutional and financial support for the incoming development goals. In a statement today, a media Consultant Desmond Otonwe disclosed that Oguwa made the remarks at the Multi-Stakeholders Forum on the Sustainable Development Goals held on Friday in Abuja. She said the implementation of MDGs in Nigeria is a success and called on Nigerians to support the new dispensation for the country to record a better results in the implementation of SDGs. Oguwa advocated the immediate localization of the SDGs as soon as it is adopted later this month to avoid the lapses recorded with the outgoing agenda. The Department of Petroleum Resources has redeployed no fewer than 20 of its senior officers nationwide. In a statement published today on its website, the agency says the posting and development is to reposition the department, enshrine accountability in performance for effective monitoring of the oil and gas sector. It indicated that the postings and redeployment also affected some divisions at the DPR headquarters. The statement further disclosed that the redeployment takes off with immediate effect. For stories outside Nigeria, migrants stranded in Croatia have been making renewed efforts to head north despite moves by Slovenia and Hungary to hold them back. Slovenian police used pepper spray on Friday night to disperse a group trying to cross from Croatia. Hungary, meanwhile, accused Croatia of violating international law after asylum seekers were sent over the border without first being registered. The EU, which is divided on the crisis, is to hold emergency talks next week. Overnight, thousands of migrants trying to pass through the Balkans to reach northern EU states spent the night at railway stations or sleeping alongside roads. Meanwhile, hundreds of people slept on a motorway near Idrin in northwestern Turkey after Turkish police stopped them from crossing the border into Greece on Friday evening. As controls have got tighter, many migrants have strayed from transport routes, walking through cornfields to reach borders. In a day of chaos and confusion on Friday, people were shunted from one border to another as governments remain split over how to handle the crisis. But that's it, a wrap on CoreTV News at 6 minutes. Thanks for watching. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Good evening.